Good evening. The death of a 7-year-old schoolboy in Dorset has left a community in shock and grief. Hundreds of flowers have been left at the spot where the boy, named as Toby, was struck as he walked to school in Poole yesterday. It happened on Sherborne Crescent in Camford Heath. Chris Morn sent this from the scene earlier.
This evening, this is a grief-stricken community. One family is completely shattered. Many more feel their pain and can do no more than offer these floral tributes by way of support. There's been a steady stream of passers-by coming here today, many with connections to the numerous schools in this residential area. They left flowers and messages for Toby and his family. Some expressed frustration at the high speeds that motorists use on this stretch of road. Others were, of course, just upset for the family.
It's awful. I mean, I've cried every time I come past it today. I've cried.
Well, there should be crossings sort of after every couple of junctions.
There's not
because there's bends
and no lights at all. There's nothing.
What a sad day this is for your community.
Terribly sad, really sad. Everybody is quite devastated by it. Obviously, the first thing you've got to do is support the family, and the police are doing that. And also the school that the little boy went to are putting in pastoral support for the little boy's friends.
Now, you're an elected representative in this area. I've heard numerous complaints here this afternoon about the speeds that some motorists use on these roads in residential areas. Do we need more effective speed restrictions here?
We need something, definitely. In view of this accident, then obviously we don't actually know what caused the accident, but we've got to work now with Dorset Police and the council and look to see what we can do to, improve the area. Dorset
Police continue to investigate what happened here yesterday morning and what has given rise to these floral tributes behind me.
This morning reporting earlier. A lorry driver has been charged with dangerous driving after 2 people died in a pile-up on the M271 motorway in December last year. Marion Altenew, who was 35, and Ian Kalin, who was 42, and both from Shirley, were killed when their car collided with 3 lorries. 49-year-old Keith Mees from Derbyshire is due to appear at Southampton Crown Court tomorrow. A man has appeared in court accused of killing a toddler in Dorset. 2-year-old Harry House died of a blunt force trauma to the abdomen in May. Joseph Eek from Broadmain near Dorchester has been charged with his murder. The 21-year-old who lived with Harry and his mother will now appear at Winchester Crown Court tomorrow. A cash machine has been blown up in Hove. It's thought a gas explosion was used to destroy the machine outside Iceland on Blatchington Road in the early hours of this morning. Detectives say a car was seen nearby before it travelled the wrong way along Belfast Street. Some good news now, especially for those passengers who've been suffering the long delays on the Southern network. You're eligible for compensation now under the Delay Repay scheme if the train's 15 minutes late. Here's Nia Mason to explain.
This is a change to existing rules, as at the moment your train has to be delayed for half an hour or more to get compensation. For passengers who make short journeys, a 29-minute delay, just 1 minute short of the limit, meant no compensation. The changes are good news, according to Southern's boss.
Of course, we aim to make sure that nobody gets delayed at all, but today's announcement is great news because when people are delayed, they do tell us that they want compensation. And the 15-minute threshold is really good news as well, because people have said to us in the past that it's a bit unfair, particularly when you're making short journeys, but you have to be delayed by 30 minutes before you receive any compensation.
Govia Thameslink, who runs Southern, is the first train company to introduce the scheme in the coming months. The government hopes other companies like South West Trains and Great Western will follow before the end of this Parliament. This is how the scheme works. You'll get 25% of the single fare back for delays of over 15 minutes. Compensation rises to half the fare for delays of more than half an hour, and a complete refund of a single fare if it's over an hour late. Plus, a delay of over 2 hours will see passengers able to claim back an entire return fare. MPs who've campaigned for compensation say it's high time rail companies were held to account.
I think one of the most important things the train operators can do is to ensure that getting that compensation is as easy as possible. In a digital age, people should really be able to apply for that sort of compensation online, and I think that would really go down very well with passengers.
It goes without saying most passengers would rather have no compensation and no delays, but at least today's announcement sweetens a bitter pill.
Neil Mason in our newsroom there. Now thousands of families are finding out whether or not their children will get to go to grammar school next year. A number of schools that select pupils on academic ability still exist in Poole, Bournemouth and Salisbury. The government plans to relax the rules, allowing new grammars to be set up. But the issue remains as divisive as ever, as our social affairs correspondent Christine Alsford now reports.
If you're looking for first-hand evidence of just how important getting into grammar school is for some, look no further than private tuition firms like this one. As this year's 11 Plus results are sent out, here they're already tutoring pupils after school who will sit the exams next year. Identical twins Katie and Eleanor working hard on their maths, so they stand the best chance of getting into the same school. Marcus's mum also keen for him to gain a grammar place.
We think there he will have the best education possible, best chances, and hopefully that will help him in the future.
Will you mind if you don't get into the grammar school?
I don't honestly mind too much, but grammar schools, it's got more of a variety of learning, I feel.
Good, yeah, fantastic. What about
the government says it plans to increase the number of schools that select on academic ability to give parents more choice. But the move has reignited the long-running debate over the rights and wrongs of selective education and how we decide who gets in. Joanne Bartley's daughter just failed her 11 Plus. She went on to get top GCSE grades at a non-selective school, but her mum says there's been a long-lasting impact.
My daughter was really hurt by it. You know, she still talks about the fact she's not as clever as people who passed, despite a load of A's. So I don't know, it just seems to affect children quite badly because it takes place when they're only 10, and that's a really impressionable age.
What is your reaction now to the news that potentially we'll have more grammar schools?
I think it's a real shame. I mean, basically, I think that a good school should be able to educate anyone. I don't think it should be picking and choosing its pupils.
But there are few things that divide parental opinion in education quite as strongly as selection at 11, and many mums and dads at the gates of Poole Grammar are strong supporters of the changes that are afoot.
I'm so glad that we've got grammar schools in this area, and I'd like to see it all over the country.
I have to say I am for them, given that my children have been there.
The grammar school system is one of the finest in the world, and I think it's beneficial.
The admissions criteria here prioritises pupils passing the 11 Plus from less well-off backgrounds. Students think more grammar schools like theirs will benefit everyone.
It encourages social mobility, so even if you're not from the richest family, if you're intelligent, that means you can do what you want with your life instead of being restricted to certain jobs and certain wages.
The head thinks academic selection isn't the problem. He believes we need to offer different types of education that suit each child and value them equally, like they do abroad.
They've got parity of esteem between, shall we say, academic education and vocational education. And I think that would be much better, because then people would end up in schools that really suit them, rather than there being a lot of baggage attached to going to a grammar school. It's somehow being better than other schools. It's not the case.
If legislation gets through, it's not thought we'll see selective schools springing up in every town, but there will inevitably be those who continue to question if we're taking a backward step. Christine Alsford, ITV News.
And more on grammar schools in our programme tomorrow at 6. Well, let's take a look at the weather now with all the details tonight. Here's Simon.
From sleet to the slopes, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Good evening. Well, I hope you've been making the most of the quiet weather, because it all changes as we hurtle towards the weekend. Turns a bit more autumnal, if anything, with some quite heavy showers developing. But on the plus side, the wind changes direction, so it shouldn't be quite so nippy. That said, it is a little on the cool side overnight tonight. A lot of cloud on top of us, and the wind is easing as the night goes on. So temperatures, well, dipping down to around 8 or 9 in some rural spots. But because of that cloud, it is going to be a bit of a grey and dull start to tomorrow. That said, it will be largely dry. As we head through the day, you'll see a few bright spells here and there. Quite a lot of overcast conditions though. Winds not as strong, temperatures up a touch on today, 12, 13 degrees, so no great shakes, but at least they are going in the right direction. And then, speaking of winds, low pressure down to the southwest forces that change. Friday night into Saturday, some rain arriving. Should have cleared by Saturday daytime. A lot of dry weather through Saturday, but that low keeps on spinning out. And Saturday night into Sunday, there'll be more rain around. Sunday looks like it'll be showery. Some of those showers heavy and thundery.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
And that's it for now. We're back during Good Morning Britain from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Do join Amanda for that. But from the late team, thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Bye-bye for now.